How's it going, everybody? You awake over there? Oh, it looked like you were bald for a second. I thought you were going to reveal a bald head.
Nope, I am in costume, a little bit of a preview, what we'll be doing for the new show we got going on, starting on the 11th. It is D&D. I'm going to be the DM, but I don't like that name. I call myself the environmental manipulist. And yeah, so it starts on Saturday the 11th. It is a D&D game where you guys can watch. So we have a group of people who'll be playing, and I will be torturing and having fun with. And yeah, there'll be some giveaways, most likely, maybe some artwork, maybe some comics and stuff. So there'll be more to come. I just wanted to give you guys a little taste of what kind of creativity I have going on. And I'm going to come in full costume and character, so I hope the rest of you do as well. So I know quite a few of the people playing will be, and I give bonus points to everybody who does take the creativity a little bit farther and be in costume. So we'll go from there. All right, now you can continue on, Tyler.
Cool. We got a busy night tonight, actually. I've added a bunch of books that we didn't have earlier. Not a bunch, but a fair few that we didn't have earlier, one of which I just read literally in the last 2 minutes. And then lots of news, Star Wars news. Star Wars Celebration was this weekend. Lots of drops. We have 3 Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes in the time since we last saw you. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight into things. First book we've got up here is the one I literally just read because both of us forgot to check it out. That's Miles Morales' Spider-Man, number 38. And it's part 1 of a big new arc for Miles. It's called Empire of the Spider. And I haven't been upkeeping with Miles probably in the last, I think, 6 months, I would say, at least. So from what I can tell, there is some kind of Spider-Verse war going on.
Yeah, he's going through a multiverse. Him and his evil clone, which is, I think it's called, it's like Miles backwards.
Yeah, it's Selim or something.
Yeah, Asylum or something. Yeah. And they come across a adult version of his baby sister who, I forget what they call it.
Billy.
No, I know it's Billy, but I forget what the creature is called, or what her character name in here is, the hero name or whatever.
You think I would remember because I just read it, but
Smasher or something like that, I think it's called. So she's introduced in that. So everybody's scrambling to get that because everybody jumps on these Miles appearances and all these Spider-Verse appearances. I at one point had all the original appearances of her as a baby, and then sold them because they rose pretty high fast. So I'm sure a lot of people are probably thinking the same for this too. I know there was a few different ratio covers in that, and a lot of people were snapping those up, and they're going high already. I saw. So
yeah, first Miles book I've taken a look at in a while, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty decent story with a little bit of a surprise twist at the end of it.
Yeah.
On to our next, which is Star Wars, or Darth Vader rather, still Star Wars. This I think has been one of my more entertaining issues in the last little bit. I do like how we're getting more back to what the Darth Vader comics were, when that's sort of like a dive of Darth Vader and how he sort of balances that line of, is he good, is he bad? Not in the sense where he does good things and bad things, but in the sense that you can see he's conflicted. In this issue, we see him come up against some people from his days as a kid on Tatooine. 2 of his friends who are the leaders of this group, and the handmaiden here, Sabe, has been helping get them established. And it's actually quite interesting to see a character that was like maybe on screen for 5 minutes, had a couple lines, which is most things with Star Wars now. But he's actually continued along and lived his life. But yeah, overall, not a bad book. If you're looking for some good covers coming up, keep an eye on Darth Vader and Star Wars. Star Wars and Darth Vader in particular.
I'm not reading the Star Wars stuff anymore, but I sure enjoyed the Vader content I saw this week from the new episode of Obi-Wan. That was really good.
Yeah, we'll get there. Next up, we've got from DC Comics, Batman Annual. Well, from 2022. It's not their 2022nd annual.
No, it actually said annual 1, which I don't understand.
I don't see 1 on there, but okay.
Yeah. This is by Ed Brisson, written, and art by John Timms, and it's a double-sized issue, being a annual. And what's going on in here is Batman Incorporated, which is kind of like Batman franchises. No, simply to say, that's set up all over the world, that he has done in the past with his his resources and that. But now Batman has no resources. He's poor now. Not poor per se, but he's lost all his billions and millions of dollars. So he's pretty poor now. He's just doing everything back.
Poor by rich guy standards.
No, he has nothing. He has, everything is, done off like just straight old Batman style, like in the 40s and that, just with ingenuity and his own hands on it. So he tells all these people who are like different versions of Batman in the world that they've modeled themselves after him, that the situation, and that he is stepping down for being like the leader per se of that group to focus on stuff within Gotham and that, Ghost Killer is going to be the new leader of it. So all the ghost people, or Ghost Killer takes a team to go do this mission, and it's all right. I don't mind it. They introduce a new character in here that's called Grey Wolf, and he's kind of like he's similar to Bane, but we don't really know too much about him yet. But he's a big, strong guy and seems to be have super stamina and stuff. So we'll go from there. And he seems to have joined this Batman Incorporated as well too. So again, the last few years, there's been close to probably a dozen new characters, villains, and just new characters in general have been introduced.
Well, they even have Clown Hunter right on the cover here.
Yeah, Clown Hunter, he's part of that. Him and the Ghost Killer have been working together. He's been training him for the last little while too, ever since the whole Clown War. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's all continuing on from there. You get some mentions here of what's going on with the Shadow War, which we'll talk about in the other DC book there. With that was all being influenced throughout the DC universe. Yep. And it kind of references more stuff that's happening further on in the DC and Batman universe coming up as well too. So yeah, I enjoyed this book. I'm curious to see about this new character. It was an okay story.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll jump straight over to Shadow War then, because like you said, it does reference it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is
Shadow
the actual
War Omega.
Yeah, which it feels like we've covered so many Shadow War books already.
Well, we did the Alpha, which was like 2 months ago or a month ago.
Yep.
And then I think we did issue 1. And then there was 2 issues within the Robin and was it Robin and Teen Titans? I forget who was in that series. Or Robin and Deathstroke series. And then this wraps it all up. And yeah, it's cool. I enjoyed this. So Joshua Williamson's doing the writing. He's been doing all the writing for these Shadow Wars things. And you got, this is being Omega, it's giant size. So you got a few different artists on it. And you got, Sequoia doing some art. You got Henderson and Porter doing art. And a few of those artists we're going to mention a little bit later on in a book that we have coming up that is an artist-creator book that they put out. And we'll get into that some more as well. So it's the conclusion to the Shadow War. Deathstroke's been killed. I won't say who in case somebody, people out there are reading the books and haven't finished the last couple of chapters, but Deathstroke's been killed. It's kind of a twist of who has killed him. And we find out who was behind all the, behind all this, the twists and turns and the setting up and that. And we find out it's Geoforce, the Batman and the Outsider's hero that, Batman kind of trained in that. And he has his reasons why he's done this and kind of gone crazy and turned evil. And it kind of goes from there. So we're going to see what happens from the fallout from this. Like I said, Deathstroke is dead. There's ramifications throughout the Ghoul family, the Talia and Roz and Damian, Batman himself, and we'll go from there because, like I said, it ended really neat. I quite liked it. There is a little bit of a not say a cliffhanger thing, but thing I kind of thought would happen. But we'll see where it goes. I was happy with this story. A lot of times, the last couple of years, there's been a lot of needless kind of crossovers and stuff, and I thought maybe this might be one of them. But this one was good.
It was a nice, not self-contained, but a nice contained story in the sense that it didn't go on for months.
I like the fact that it was just kind of grounded to earth a little bit. I mean, yes, I know there people coming back to life with the Lazarus Pit and stuff, but I liked how that it was just like assassins and ninjas and combaters, and it wasn't like gods, cosmic beings, like the next thing we're going to talk about, the crisis events, which is always going on in the DC universe, some kind of major, universe altering event. So this was nice just to see a kind of cool story, self-contained in down to street level kind of. So.
Yeah, and Deathstroke is a pretty popular character, so to him get his own book and get a whole sort of storyline wrapped around him, that's not something like Judas Contract, right? Like something wholly new. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I enjoyed
it. Next, and again, like both other books we're alluding to, is the next big DC Crisis event with Justice League Road to Dark Crisis.
Right. So this time there's going to be a Dark Crisis, and this one I'm kind of looking forward to because it does have a lot of throwback and connection to the first Crisis with like Pariah.
I like one of the variant covers is Pariah sitting on a little throne reading a bunch of the old DC Silver Age comics.
Yeah, and I was actually going to use that as my cover of the week, but I thought that would have been a little too easy. But this one here, again, it's a larger size. It's all one-shot stories by multiple writers and artists, and it's all little 1-2 page stories, sometimes 3, depending on how big of a character it is, all leading into the Dark Crisis events and kind of what's happened to him in the last few months or so. So kind of the recap stuff, kind of neat how I enjoyed the first story where it is Damian and sorry, not Damian. It is Dick, Nightwing, and John Kent. So like the current Superman, the younger Superman.
Yeah.
And kind of talking about they're both their dads being gone with the Justice League dead, and we kind of see how everybody's kind of reacting to this, and how some people want to move forward and have a new team, and other people just want to say they kind of chill out a little bit. Well, these people have died before and come back, so it's kind of like you would see in real life. Some people want to move on, and some people are still kind of in denial on that. So, and again, we see all the kind of little hints and future Easter eggs of what's going to happen in the future. And it looks like there's going to be almost like a Secret War type of thing, where it's all a bunch of good guys versus bad guys, which happens in Crisis all the time too. So we'll see what some of the motives are for the team ups that are going on there. So interesting so far.
As far as Crisis events go, I am looking forward to this one more. And I don't know why in particular. I guess the last one was with like the Batman Who Laughs and that whole. Actually, I think that's one of the things we covered last year.
Yeah. And then it was Heroes in Crisis, which I didn't care for too much.
Yeah.
So this one feels more like an original Crisis.
It does. It feels like it's not a continuation, but like a more close sequel to that.
Yeah, because Pariah here has been hiding, trying to just live a normal life, and now he keeps something's trying to convince him to start up his machine to wipe out the universe and start this whole Crisis thing event. So it finally convinces him at the end to do that. So it has started.
And that's it that we've got for DC. So let's move on to Image. Next here we've got We Have Demons, and this is one that I've been following the whole time through. You didn't enjoy the first issue quite as much, but I kept up with them, and I've enjoyed this issue too. I don't want to talk too much about this issue because it is the end of this arc, and I'm not sure if there's going to be more books continuing past this point, because at the end of it, it does say the end of book 1. So I don't know if the next one will be a volume 2 or if it'll be issue number 4. I haven't looked that far ahead for it. However, just as we left off at the end of the second issue, it's got our main character here, her father, who was the priest. He was our pastor. He was the leader of this group. He was killed. And for whatever reason, he came back as a demon at his funeral or at his wake, at his viewing, and that's where it left off at the end of the last issue. This one is picking up right after that, and
That's so annoying when that happens.
what? Oh, when they come back?
Yeah, they're like, what a waste of a party, man. I just did this all for you and you're back, right? You only get one, you know?
But it's good. You do get a lot more context. Some stuff that you didn't really think had a whole lot of, I guess, weight to it in the earlier 2 issues end up being revealed to be actually large points that you never really would have considered before because you didn't know this organization or this group of people. And it ends off on a pretty good note, actually, as far as continuing the story. They do round up this entire story, which is very good for only 3 issues, much like Barbaric with Vault. I think they only had 3 issues.
Yeah,
maybe 4. But yeah, a really good job telling a story in a limited span. And I look forward to seeing if they do more of this. Great artwork as always. The demons inside this, they are so well illustrated. I love it.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say. You know, Greg Capullo's art in here is awesome.
Well, and it's a great team. Yeah, it's got Scott Snyder,
I like
Greg
Scott
Capullo.
Snyder. I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't care for this book. I always say I'm going to go back and try and read the first one because I do have issue 2 and I will get 3 eventually. But yeah, I just didn't care for it. I know you liked it, but no, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Sometimes some things just don't click. That's all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, it's got a good ending. I think the final panel is them saying, "Give demons the finger," and our main character there and her demon buddy are holding blades on their arms while giving demons the finger. It's a pretty good ending.
And I always like the covers in here too. They always had nice covers and a little bit of foil if you wanted as well.
Yes, they were actually very nice covers as well. Mm-hmm. And actually, another nice cover was our next book from Image, which is Tiny Onion's new book, James Tynion. That's The Closet. And Image has been waiting for this one to come out for a bit. I think Tynion was really excited about this one.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Lots of people seem to have dropped off of Nice House on the Lake. And that same force of people that were super hyped for that seem to have crossed over onto this now.
Well, what I think what happened with Nice House on the Lake is that they broke it up into 2 arcs, right? First 6 issues, and then the second 6 issues, which we're in right now, which I think number 8 or 9 came out this week.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so I think then there was like 6 months in between those 2 arcs. So
it was back last year, and then it just started up recently.
I think it was 6 months. So no, that kind of killed the momentum there. So we'll see what happens with this one here, but this one's kind of cool. It almost was my cover of the week, and there's a few covers. There's quite a few exclusives for this.
Oh yeah.
But even just the ratios for here were kind of cool. And again, you can't. It's a simple concept. It's just a scary looking closet door, and that we see a monster in here, kind of. But it's not threatening at first. It's just a little monster. So again, you can't really make a scary monster coming out of it. So it's neat to see how they had all these different interpretations of a closet that were still kind of cool. Again, that's what's cool about art. I like that.
But it would have been great to see a Monsters Inc. homage.
Yeah, there probably might have been.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we got James Tynion IV doing the writing. One of my favorites, especially nowadays, probably if not my favorite artist of all at the current writers. You got Gavin Fullerton doing the art here. So what this is you got a fighting and an unhappy married couple who are moving away. You don't really know why they're moving away. Maybe it's to start, kind of get a fresh start, or maybe for a new job opportunity. But mom and dad are pretty miserable. They fight all the time. Looks like a little bit of a, maybe not a drinking problem, but
it's strange how common of a storyline that tends to be with the comics in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people know that's pretty common, especially growing up. And this is a horror comic in the sense that there is some monsters in that, but it's a horror comic in the existential sense, where it's like, is the monster that this kid apparently sees in his closet, is it a monster that's a real monster,
or manifestation,
or is it a monster that he's that's the way he's dealing with the stress in his life with moving and with his parents always fighting, and that he knows that things are not good there and that. But again, we do see a little bit of a monster in here. It's almost like a little shadowy Charlie Brown figure. And it looks like this, the dad keeps telling him that not to worry about this, even if this monster creature does live there, not to worry about, we're moving in that. Don't worry about it. Your new room doesn't even have a closet. And his dad's kind of, at a...
That's nothing to brag about. That's actually very unfortunate.
Yeah. So, but then again, too, the night before they're moving, the kid kind of sees this monster, and the monster kind of makes it look like he's moving with them. He's going to move into like a new closet by the boxes. So this kid's freaking out from that. Like that's going on. The turmoil is going on with the parents and that. So, and they're moving. So I mean, we'll see what happens there. It's not a whole lot goes on here because not a lot can go on here yet. So I don't know if this is a 6 issue or 4 issues or 3 issues or 12 issues, but it's going to be one of those kind of like, it is scary, but is it scary in the sense that is it monsters, or is it kind of in his head because he's so stressed out type
It's
of
like
thing?
a classic horror. They don't show you the villain, or they don't show you the killer. They don't show you the whatever the evil force is, and it's built on that suspense, that sort of that thriller vibe.
Yeah, psychodrama type of thing instead
Right.
of slasher type. So, and I'm sure, being James Tan, don't worry, I'm guaranteed there'll be some.
Oh, it'll be well executed either way.
There'll be some horrific monster action there at some point, but it's going to be a lot of like the anticipation or just the craziness is what's going to get to us. So, I think for a lot of people, this was probably their book of the week.
That's what I was about to say. Because I didn't get a chance to read this one, but I know out of all the books that we have here this week and that we didn't cover even, this one is getting the highest praise so far.
I agree.
Next, we've got still from Image. It's our last book from Image, I believe. Yep. Firepower, number 21. And this is one we cover every so often. It feels like every 8 or 9 issues. I think we've covered, this is probably the 3rd one.
Well, I know this is a good series by Robert Kirkman. Part of his Skybound line, which is from Image.
Yep.
And he controls that line all himself. It's all his properties or things that he signs to that. So this book has been great from the beginning. It's a better Iron Fist story than Iron Fist. Really.
It is, and that's what I've been saying since day one.
Right,
and that was making some people upset.
In here, and the story itself, I guarantee, again, being Kirkman, is going to be transformed over to I think more of an animation show.
It's very similar to Invincible. It's like very bold lines.
Right, which is him as well too, right?
Yeah.
So again, I think this is definitely gonna transition over into a show. But not even besides that, this is well written, great artwork. I don't read it now continuously as much as Tyler does. I still love it. I just stopped reading it after a while because I got kind of lost with everything else. But we're on issue 25 now.
21.
Oh, sorry, 21.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It is a great story.
Yeah.
It's only gotten better as the story goes.
It's actually it's got 1 to 21, but there's also, I think it was a few issues in, or maybe it was when issue 1 released. They did a prequel graphic novel as well.
Right.
And that prequel
graphic
is
novel,
amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
And that came out the same day as issue 1 did.
Yeah.
So that was cool too. So I really do like it. It's a good book. It deserves to get a little bit of attention once in a while. It kind of gets lost. It's consistently good.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things too. There's no real crazy high points in it, and there's no real drop-offs where it's a bit slower. Every issue has been good. I haven't really noticed any filler stuff in it. And this issue is no exception.
And some of the most amazing fight scenes and full page and double page fight scenes that you'll ever see.
And they're vibrant, they're colorful.
Very. Side note too, mentioning Skybound and Kirkman, I saw today that starting in November, they have bought the properties to Creepshow Comics. So they're going to start doing Creepshow Comics. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Firepower is also my cover of the week, but not the one we have here with the old man. That one is okay. The wrinkly hand and the weird fingernails creep me out. But this next one, I believe it's cover C. This, and I know it's early on, so we'll say because it's still almost the end week of May. I think this cover is my cover of the month for May.
May's over. So,
I know, but
it's a pretty cool cover. It makes me think of like a old movie style, like 70s movies or 80s movies.
It gives me
or
the same feeling that the Bruce Timm stuff is based off of.
Yeah,
like the Justice League animated, all that.
Since we're talking about covers of the week, my cover of the week is, we didn't review those books, but I kind of have two covers of the week. One's kind of a retro cover, but it is, it got released this week as an Omni. And the other one is just a new comic cover that I just didn't cover it, but I really like it because I like Dan Parent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be at the Big Country Comic Con in November.
Yep, just announced.
Just announced earlier this week. So awesome for Justin to arranging that. I'm going to definitely try and get out there. Tyler maybe wants to try and get out there too in November. We'll see. I don't know, that's kind of crazy money, that we'll see. But if I'm not out there, some of my stuff will make it out there. Because I liked Archie and Dan Parent stuff. So I'd like to get this one, get it autographed because it has the bikini art and it has my three. Well, I like Cheryl Blossom too, but the three girls. It's got Betty, Veronica, and Sabrina. And this year is the 60th anniversary of Sabrina the Witch as well. So that's cool.
She looks pretty good for her age.
She does. Did you show the Omni cover or no?
I didn't. I didn't pull that one. I forgot to get that one. But it is the omnibus cover for
the
Luke Cage. Yeah,
that's kind of cool. I like that. It's a retro cover. It's very iconic and iconic in the sense of looking and iconic in the sense what it meant socially.
So our next book here, I think you're going to have to explain it a little bit. It's a interesting book. I don't know exactly what we've got here, but I know you had it on the list. It's not one I covered, and it's a Mickey Mouse, but it's a weird Mickey Mouse zombie coffee. What is this? It looks like it's the old style of Mickey Mouse.
Yes, and that's what it is. That's what's pretty cool I liked about it too. So Fantagraphics still puts out Mickey Mouse comics. This is it just came out this week. It's thicker. I think it's like 80 pages, so it's like a graphic novel.
It's like a Garfield book. Like they're more long.
Right. But this was originally printed a few years earlier in France, and it's the artist is there's Roger Loisel. And I noticed this right away, and I've noticed it a few times the last few years about these Disney things, because they do look very old, like the original 40s art in that. And when you read them, it has that kind of feel to it. And it also has kind of, I won't say watered down Disney feel like how it is nowadays, like everything is just so bland. But this is very much in the old style, a little bit more mature feeling, like, there's a little bit of some innuendos, like nothing bad innuendo wise, but there's a little bit of like some stereotyping,
less PG humor.
Yeah, a little bit of stereotyping that goes on, for the time period. Mickey gets mad at points and gets angry. Not just like, oh, I'm Mickey and I'm angry, but he gets the the circular round eyes and the gnashing teeth, and so a little bit more, like I said, a little bit more mature, like they were.
You would know the Donald Duck in the Third Reich sort of video.
Well, yeah.
It's that same time though. It's that same type of
exactly
styling.
So it has that 40s and 50s feel, but they are newer stories. Like I said, it has like zombies in it, and so that's what attracted to me in the first part. Is just like newer stories that had that old style feel, like the Silly Symphonies and stuff like that I used to watch as a kid. Like even then, it came out in the 50s, so it was old back then. But this one here is after a vacation. Mickey and Horace they go take the ladies, Clarabella and Minnie on a little camping vacation. They go out to Donald's farm and spend a few days or a week or so out there. They come back to their little village town thing, and they find out that everyone's been kind of scared off, or their property's been bought up by this crooked businessman, and trying to buy all the stuff in town. He wants to turn the town into high-end deluxe golf course. So, so there's kind of a mystery going on. What's going on with the zombies? Why is this guy doing all this? So, Mickey and Horace and Minnie and Clarabelle have to kind of figure this out. And again, it's kind of like I said, like an old Mickey cartoon movie type. So, not necessarily okay for kids per se, but definitely better than like not better, but definitely more of the original style art.
They can read it, but lots of like the old Disney. The stuff that's not meant for kids is going to go over their head.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying it's not mature, and it is a Disney product. It's just that it's not the stuff they see nowadays. That's just like super friendly, not going to offend anybody. Again, much like how Tom and Jerry is nowadays compared to the old days, or Popeye is nowadays compared to the old days.
I have to say, it's really weird to see this version of Mickey Mouse colorized. I'm so used to seeing him black and white, and it's almost like eerie. Like he seems like something's wrong with him because he's colorized.
Right, but when they do this, like you said, it does have that black and white feel. The coloring still has that old style feel to it as well.
Yeah,
so
a little bit
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it actually.
And then, while we're on the topic of classic characters and, well-known people that have been around for a long time, let's cover our next book, which is Trailer Park Boys, House of a Thousand Conkeys.
Yeah, when I think of classic characters, I think, the Trailer Park Boys and the Disney guys are right up there side by side.
Well, I mean, you go to Disneyland, you go to the trailer park lot, they're in a great experience either way.
Yeah.
I have cover B up on here right now. Cover A was all right. I found it a little bit plain. It was just Bubbles' head and Conky's head coming out of a grave. But this one I thought was much better.
And there's a C one that's pretty cool.
There is, yeah.
So I walked into the store and I didn't know this was coming out. In the past, I knew there was a couple different one-shots.
I had to search pretty hard to find this, actually.
Yeah, so I picked it up right away, and I was laughing all the way through. It's just one story this time, where the other issues have been like short stories and kind of collections.
Book.
But this one is pretty awesome. It is Trailer Park Boys, House of a Thousand Conkeys. So kind of a rip of a House of a Thousand Corpses. So Devil's Due Comics, and written by Tom Molly and Brian Rogers. So now it's Halloween time, and Bubbles is fed up with Ricky and Julian and their usual antics of trying to take over stuff and wrecking it for everybody. So he's going to teach them a lesson using Conky and a haunted house. Yeah, it's pretty funny. You can imagine where it goes like that. So your typical trailer park boy fun, animated style. Or if like the former comics, just like that as well. So really good. Again, not for kids at all. Lots of vulgarity in here and drug use and all the stuff. If don't let your kids watch the show. Don't let them read this. But again, if you like the show and you like the cartoon, you'll love this. So.
And do we get a Sam Squanch cameo in this? With it being a Trailer Park Boys Halloween?
No, what they do is they take a trailer and they turn it into like a haunted house, and every year they raise money for something, and this year they're trying to raise money to fix the leaky septic tank.
Julian will probably try to steal it, or Ricky will try to steal it.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And Bubbles gets mad, and then he wants to teach him a lesson with Conky. So everybody in the park gets in to teach them a Conky. So it's almost like a Scooby-Doo episode 2. But it's pretty funny, man. And you never know with Conky if it's real or not. So.
Yeah, it's like Scarface. Wesker and Scarface, not Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Next we've got from AWA Upshot, New Think. I think it's actually really New cool. Think. Is it New Think 1.0?
Yeah, New Think 1.0,
yeah.
Because I think that those other issues too, and there'll be 2 in that, but it's kind of like
this one is one of the more interesting ones, and it's sort of what you and I really like with anthology stuff. Right.
This one here, the cover is almost my cover of the week when you think about what it is. And what it is there for anybody who can't really figure it out right away, it's like the Garden of Eden.
Yep.
And you got man and women there, and looks like they're being tempted by an apple, but here it's like an Apple device, right? So saying that, this book is written by Greg Hurwitz.
Do you think that's the Bible verse there too? 345?
Yeah, it has probably a Bible verse there too. And then it says, artist by Mike Deodato Jr. And for all these AWA Upshot books, Mike Deodato Jr. does a lot of the artwork for the interiors. And if not that, he does at least one of the covers for them. Because they usually have A and B covers, sometimes 3 covers. Mm-hmm. But he at least does one of the covers. And Mike Deodato does amazing work. All these people on AWA Upshot are people that are established talents already, like Greg Hurwitz has been around for a long time. But these books, and we mention it every time when we do cover these books covered from this company, these books are designed mainly to be picked up for streaming services and movies and stuff like that. But that doesn't make them a bad comic. In fact, that makes them awesome comics. This is no different. Yep. This one's kind of a sci-fi horror story about how humankind is being taken over by like a higher life form, like aliens in that. But what if think about that for a second. And you think, well, that could never happen here. We're too smart for that. But what if it's already happened? And what if
lizard people, the Illuminati?
Yeah, exactly. But not even that. Think of something more subtle. What if the alien life forms was like computer technology?
Transformers.
No, not Transformers, but things like the original computers themselves when they first started showing up in the 50s and 60s, and then they started getting more and more advanced and turning into TVs and then to now what we have today. So what it is that they've turned it so people went from being totally independent, not needing these things, to being slaves to these things and, being slaves to these devices. And when you read the stories, it is so scary that it's like, wow, this is what's really going on in the world, but you never saw it through these eyes before. So it shows like how everything we do nowadays, this technology isn't being developed for us. The technology is developing itself to entrap us even more. So that's kind of cool to see that too.
It's very much a Black Mirror series way of thinking.
It is, yeah. It's much like our Spectro book that we had, our own version of a few weeks ago. It's on that same line that it's a sci-fi.
I like that sci-fi horror type or sci-fi thriller, sci-fi suspense. That's making a comeback. I love it. It's a great form of storytelling.
Well, this is something here that's a very true story. Some people probably think it's already happened, but maybe not alien life form doing it. But again, like in that Spectro, the first story there was about an app, and kind of like the app, how it controlled us in the end, and we were doing things harmful to ourselves just to appease the app. So the exact same kind of idea, how we make technology to make things easier on us, and at the end, technology is controlling us, and we do more and more in that to enable ourselves. So great book so far.
And then our next to last book we have here is lots of great covers this week, I must say. And this one is no exception either. It's a Neverender from Behemoth Comics.
There was 3 covers for this one, and all of them are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They kind of have that feel like that Primordial or whatever it was.
Yeah, Primordial.
From Lemire a few months ago by Image as well, I believe. But it's not that really. It is
another sci-fi based comic.
Yes, very sci-fi based in the future, kind of like this totalitarian. Oh, I said it right.
No, you didn't. Close. Totalitarian.
Totalitarian world where this one kid, obviously he's a bit of a troublemaker, always getting into fights and stuff. But it seems like he comes from a pretty crappy upbringing. He gets beat by his parents all the time. They call him worthless and that. And what's also going on in the story, and you can see on the front cover there, these people on the cover, they're kind of like gladiators, and they much like in that movie The Running Man by Schwarzenegger, these gladiators kind of become like celebrities, and they're kind of kind of worshipped a little bit by society, and that they're almost seen like said celebrities or dignitaries. So Oh, what else is going on in this timeline or this story or society or world, whatever you want to call it, is that they have this kind of whole robots versus humans mentality going on, where it looks like the robots are trying to get rights for themselves and kind of register as the AI is real, where humans are against them. And kind of almost like a civil rights issue we would see like in the '60s with Black people or with natives, Native Canadians and Native Americans. Same type of thing. But what happens here is the main character, he's a beat down kid. He's pretty young. He just always gets into trouble. He tries to do the right stuff, but always still gets into trouble. For whatever reason, he's a really good fighter. He's just awesome with his hands and just seems to be a really, really good fighter. He has a buddy that bails him out of jail one day for fighting. And this buddy is a scientist, and he's made this spaceship that's in a kind of a new way of a new way of technology of propellant of getting off the earth, and that's what everything is about nowadays is getting off the world and finding new ways and technologies to get off the world. And for whatever reason, I don't want to tell you guys too much, but whatever reason, this guy gets trapped into this kind of experimental space exploring device, and it gets set off, and he gets shot out into space. So we don't really know what's going to happen to him now, except he's out in space, can't control it, and he's kind of like a fighter. So I don't know if we're going to see like a Planet Hulk type of thing where he gets shot off and has to defend himself like that.
I was thinking it's going to be something more like Planet of the Apes.
Or something like that, or I don't know if he's going to come back later or what, but neat start. This book is written by, it's just one person doing everything on this book, actually. Yeah. It's Devin Kraft. And again, from Behemoth. So Behemoth puts out a lot of different stuff. And again, being Behemoth, awesome paper quality, awesome printing, quality inside, and great covers. And nice, hardcover, stock covers that me and Tyler like to rave about every time.
Yep, I agree. And no more expensive than a standard comic.
Yes, I believe this was. It even says on the cover they're $4.
Yep.
$5, so $4.99 American. If you have to pay Canadian, which most places, if you're a subscriber and that you shouldn't, you're paying $5. So, and again, this book is worth $5 compared to some Marvel and DC books aren't. And the DC books, I think all three that we covered this week were, larger size, so they're probably closer to $9, $10. So
yeah. While we're talking about page quality, I was walking around upstairs today, and I saw for the first time in probably about 8 years a phone book.
Yeah, they just delivered that right before they showed up.
And those, I mean, phone books, maybe they used the same paper forever ago too, and it was just because it was so thick, it was more sturdy. But I tried flipping through it just to see, and this is like tissue paper. I almost tore one of the pages out just turning it.
Did you think you were reading a Marvel comic for a while there?
I was going to make the comparison, but then I thought back to that book we covered, the pulp one, where it was actually like old style paper.
Yeah.
And even that was better, actually. It was literally tissue paper.
And since we were talking about prices here too, one thing with the Firepower, we were talking about being an image book. All those books were image, unless they're double sized or something like that. They're all $3.99. So I mean, and they have
the only ones that tend to be a bit higher are the big Spawn crossover, like the Scorched. I think are a little bit higher, but they're thicker books.
That's right. Yeah, I said they're a larger format. So again, if that book can do it, and the indies can do it with better paper quality, why can't the big guys? But that can change soon. There's a lot of shakeups going on with DC and Marvel, so that stuff we'll talk about again pretty soon. Actually, probably segging into it right now. Oh, we have one more book.
We have one more book, yeah. So I'll throw it up on screen. I don't have too much to say about this book. I like the look of some of the characters, but beyond that, I have very little interest in it. It's Primal Red.
This is a preview book.
Or Premier Red.
It's called, I think it's called Red Prime. Is that what it's called?
No,
Prime Red. No, Primer Red #1.
Yeah.
Artist Elite presents Primer Red 1. And what Artist Elite is, and this is what I was referring to a little bit earlier, is Artist Elite is a collection of artists that put out work like this that kind of to promote other artists, whether it's new artists are established artists, and it's all creative owned stuff. So it's all new properties, and again, it's just a way to get new stuff out there. So I guess they're going to have actual stories of these characters. I don't know if they'll be team ups or if they're going to be like one shots or ongoing stories or anthologies or what. But again, this book it's a magazine, kind of like has like a heavy metal magazine feel to it. And
also $5.
Yeah, this was just the intro. So I mean, and I saw there's another one coming out very soon called Primer Blue. So I guess again, so there'll be some more stuff. So what it is, it's a comic that has 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 pages, but most likely 1, 2, 3 little previews of all this creative own work. So you get usually a page or two of story. You get a page of like concept drawings, or maybe a page of like some art and like background story on it. So kind of pretty cool. And again, there's all-star cast of talent in here, whether it's writers and artists. And for a lot of this stuff here, the writer and the art is done by the same person, again, because it's that creative own feel to it, right? Mm-hmm. So you got guys on here like Brett Booth, Paulo Patalina, Ryan Kincaid, Alan Kwa, Sarah Song, Ben Temple-Smith. I saw that, again, Tyler Kirkman was involved with the production of this. So again, and I think McFarlane as well too, probably. Again, so it's one of those things like Kevin Eastman does with Heavy Metal Magazine, just a way to expose people to new characters. And, I don't know if it's going to be through this Artist Elite stuff or to different magazines, but I really liked a lot of the artwork here.
It's more of an artist platform than anything else. It's a showcase.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, and that's what we like is art in that. So I wanted to point it out. There is some, like I said, some of the stories here. Each of these characters on the page there get a little bit of the magazine.
There are other characters as well. There is, I think it's a ratio actually for this book, and it's actually a horizontal view.
Yeah, that was I think that was a 1 per store or something like that.
Yeah.
I just set on getting that. I was gonna maybe get that, but I didn't know what it was at first, and then I went back and got it was gone. So, but yeah, really good introduction and stuff, especially for people who like art, and again, a lot of great artists. So some artistic talent, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is what we have for books. So before we jump into news, we will cover Kenobi real quick. All right. I keep calling it Kenobi. It's called Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought it was just called Kenobi. I was wrong.
You can start off, and I have to step away for 1 second.
Yeah. So we got not only 1, 2, but 3 episodes in the span of less than a week. Originally, Wednesdays are the release dates for Disney Plus shows. It got pushed for Friday because of celebrations. They wanted to have a panel with cast from it, hype it up, and then they said, "Oh, well, actually, we're dropping it." I think it was 4 hours early or something. Nothing crazy, but it came out Thursday night rather than Friday morning. And those 2 episodes were really great. It's been 10 years. Obi-Wan is very much dealing with the fall of the Jedi Order, and he's not dealing with it very well, to be honest. He's definitely has some kind of trauma and PTSD. He's trying to reach out to Qui-Gon for wisdom, but it almost seems as though Obi-Wan has either cut himself off from the Force, or because he's not actively practicing the Force or training with the Force, he seems to sort of lost his touch with it. And we do see that later in the second episode. Right. Yeah, he didn't train that muscle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we do see later in that second episode, he does struggle to use the Force for something as simple as just, holding up a person. Which is, compared to the last time we saw Obi-Wan, that's like lifting up a marshmallow. Now he's lifting up a 10-ton weight.
Or compared to how Vader has still been continuing on with his training and learning of the Force, and and he was a wrecking crew on there. Him going through the village and him going through,
and then episode 3 we get reintroduced to Darth Vader, and this is probably the strongest Darth Vader we have ever seen on screen. Similar to what he's like in Rogue One. But this one, he's out for Obi-Wan. He knows Obi-Wan's there. He can sense him, and he just tries to draw him out. He doesn't want to go to Obi-Wan. He wants to make him suffer. And he kills people in this village. He snaps like a young adult teenager's neck when they go to help their father.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. And Obi-Wan, they have a confrontation, and it does not go well for old Ben.
Yeah, he's past the point of just wanting to kill him. He wants to torture him, and he does. When I was watching that, I don't want to spoil it, but telling people what happens. It's pretty like, wow, that's pretty PTSD fucked up. Like,
there's been certain moments, and particularly in this episode, like this is probably as close to horror as Star Wars would get, I would imagine. But even for episode 1, you see someone's hand just get chopped off. Not out of nowhere. I mean, it is sort of out of nowhere, but it's to make a point. In this, a stormtrooper is killed in a pretty shocking manner compared to what we see normally. And I don't want to spoil what it is for anyone that hasn't seen it, because, like, as a Star Wars fan, I was like, "Whoa, that was crazy!" But even someone that's like you, you've seen it, and even you were like, "Whoa, that's insane!"
Yeah.
So a good chuckle, but also like, whoa, wow. So a great first 3 episodes, honestly.
Enjoying it a lot. It's a good show.
Best Star Wars content since the actual prequels were coming out, whatever the last one, 2005, I would say.
I think we'll have different opinions on that, but
hey, without those, we wouldn't get this show.
My favorite Star Wars of all time, Tyler, but I'm old school. Is episodes 2 and 3, man, or not 2 and 3? What I call 2 and 3, which I guess are 4 and 5, or no, 5 and 6. I like Empire and Jedi; those are the best.
5 and 6. Empire is definitely,
yeah.
I think I might like this more than Empire. We'll see how this whole thing goes, though.
Yeah, I really like how they brought back Darth Vader. I didn't think I would like that. I thought I would feel like other shows that have brought back things that are like so long and like kind of just treading it up. But this actually was really good. I enjoyed it.
And then while we're on the topic of Disney Plus stuff, we did get it announced. There were rumors, but now it's fully announced. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will be on Disney Plus 20 days from now on June 22nd. Which is very soon, it seems, is it not?
Yeah, and I also heard today that when Thor comes out, the new Thor movie, that is the shortest time between Marvel movies, between Thor and Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. And then you get Black Panther later on this year as well.
And you got
Ms. Marvel. Actually, Ms. Marvel starts next week, I guess, on the 8th.
Yeah.
I did forget about that. And then I guess while we're just riffing off of things here, while we're talking about Strange, we'll talk about Stranger Things 4. That came out on Friday, same time as Obi-Wan. And they did 7 episodes. These episodes are all over an hour. I think the last one is almost 2 hours at 1 hour and 48 minutes or something like that. Very long episodes. They definitely seem like they could have been broken up. Like during the episodes, seems like there's like finite endings. It's really strange. No pun intended. But overall, I think the last season was okay, not great. This season is really, really good. The villain they have is really good. Again, it's a character that they name after a D&D character. That's Vecna, who's a Lich King, an undead wizard. Really, really good story. You get actually cameos from the original Freddy Krueger. Was it Rob Englund?
Robert Englund.
Yeah. And he is played as a character who killed his whole family when he was younger, and some people think he was framed, some people think that he did it, and it's quite ironic because the character in this, who's the villain, that Vecna, is actually very similar to Freddy Krueger in the sense that he comes at you in your dreams, but also when you're awake and can put you into a dream state. Very, very interesting concept. It doesn't feel like it rips off Nightmare on Elm Street. The first episode or two does, but as you get on and this character gets expanded, it is very much its own thing.
Well, I didn't see that, but what I did see was yesterday was Oscar the Grouch's birthday, and he's 65 years old, I think. So that's pretty cool.
He looks pretty good for his age, doesn't he?
For sure.
It's the garbage can cream.
I also saw too that that the guy from DC, the head of DC, there got fired, which we all kind of thought might happen there.
Mhm.
So he's out. So a lot of different things are going to be switching up there. That's been happening a lot
And
at
then
DC.
Joe Quesada leaving Marvel.
Yeah, and I've also heard too that which is big too, because Joe Quesada has been there for a long time, like
Oh yeah.
20 plus years, and
Yep.
you know, kind of brought them through the bad times and created a lot of stuff and helped them get a lot of stuff. Like
He put Marvel back on track.
yeah, brought them up to where they back are now. So he's walking away, and it sounds like he's going to maybe doing some independent stuff. But I also heard rumors too that now maybe with again with the DC shake up there, that maybe Jim Lee over there is going to trying to get him over, bringing him over to help him right the ship there and get it going too. Because they've done the same thing in the past there before too. Like they did that with Brian Michael Bendis.
Yep.
And when he left there, and I don't think they got their money's worth out of that. But who knows? I could see that there. I mean, Jim Lee and Joe Quesada there could work together very well. So
yeah, two huge heavy hitters, both Marvel alum and DC.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of DC, you did mention that the head of DC was given the boot. We got the trailer for the Gotham Knights TV series, not to be confused with the game that in itself doesn't look great. This show is even worse. I haven't been delicate with this. It's a very it's like they wanted to do the Bat family but with no Batman characters and have it be very much like Riverdale. It looks very very not great. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know how all the shows that they canceled, this wasn't one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's very CW. It's it's not great. I don't know how else to talk about it without keep saying it's not great.
That's all right. Most people expect that. What I want to mention too with Ian McGregor and Obi-Wan Kenobi is that they announced yesterday that CGC is going to be doing a signing with him. If anybody wants to get some Ian McGregor comic books signed, they can send it in. All stuff has to be in by July 11th. So
very soon.
Yeah, very soon. Something else I just saw today that was announced is the new Beavis and Butthead series will be premiering on Paramount Plus June 23rd.
I watched the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie this weekend.
I know you're going to say that.
And Beavis and Butthead is, or at least Butthead is in that movie. He's on a bus bench and it says "Vote Butthead for President." So in that world, he's running for president. A great movie for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
I was going to say that too. I just saw bits and pieces and I heard bits and pieces. And there was a lot of cameos in there, kind of like an updated Roger Rabbit. So that was kind of cool.
Who also stars, or not stars, cameos in it, voiced by his original actor.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, continue.
No, that's it. I was just looking here. We got Sony mentioned some stuff. God of War is coming out, Willow's coming out, all that stuff we kind of covered already.
Well, that's something that we'll go over here with Celebration this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff we had mentioned before there. I don't know if we talked about it because it was after the show, but we shared it. Was the Willow trailer and the Andor trailer. We know that Andor is coming this year. We know the Ahsoka show will be coming next year, and lots of characters for Rebels are coming back for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting Harrison Dula, the captain of the Ghost crew. We're getting Chop, their orange astromech R2-D2 style droid, and a character that has been cast for at least a year. We've known about it for a year, but it was never confirmed. It's been kept very quiet, and that was Sabine Wren. And I can't remember the name of the actress who's playing her, but it is the one that had been rumored for that last year. And that, like I said, that'll be coming next year. We're getting The Mandalorian Season 3 in... Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
We're getting The Mandalorian Season 3 in February, as well as we'll be getting a new Star Wars series called Skeleton Crew, helmed by Jude Law. He'll be the main star, and that one's actually being directed by John Watts, who just recently finished the Spider-Man home trilogy.
We talked about last week already.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know I have some other Star Wars things here. Yep. Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 is coming this fall. That will be... yeah, I don't think they had a date for it. They just said this fall. They also had 2 other announcements. One that was, I think, pushed back. We'd heard rumors of it before, called Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. And that one will be focusing on prequel-era Jedi, mainly Ahsoka Tano, who is getting a lot of content around her, and Count Dooku and a younger Qui-Gon Jinn. And these will be in the style of the Clone Wars TV series, art-wise. They're also doing a Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, which is going to be a Disney Junior type show, sort of like maybe not Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, but something closer to what that Spidey and His Amazing Friends, the newer series, is. Something for younger children. And then, while we're talking about Jedi, we did get a trailer for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Really great game. A character, Cal Kestis, played by, I think his name is Cameron Morgan. He played the Joker, or the Gotham's version of the Joker in the TV show. He will most likely be showing up in another Star Wars property. People thought it could be Kenobi. It seems like it might be something else. Who knows? Trailer looks good. That's about all the Star Wars news I have, and I haven't taken a breath yet, so... That's how we ramble off news.
I think that's it for almost everything, really. I just want to say to everybody, maybe check out the new show starting on the 11th there. We're going to have a little bit of a trial run this weekend, just to get everybody, who's playing the game, familiar with how to work the system and that, myself included. So we're going to be doing that. I'm not sure if it will be broadcasted or not. If it is, check it out. I'm sure it'll be, if it is, it'll be on the channel. I
don't believe it will be.
Probably, we'll see. Just again to try it all out. So it'll stream on the Things Are Getting Dicey fan page, and we'll have it on ours as well too. Like I said, I'll be hosting, and that's why I have some face makeup on here tonight. I'm going to take it to the extreme and be the ultimate GM. But I don't like that word. It's just we need to update that word. So check that out. Support us on all the formats that you can, all our usuals. It'd be nice if you could subscribe to them as well too, besides watching it, and support us other ways as well too. So we still have Spectral books. We've been talking a lot about sci-fi horror, so we still have books like this from Michael. Great book, getting in that large format. We have coming out not next week, but the week after, we have Calculated Man, again by Michael as the art.
That is coming out the same week as our 1-year anniversary of the show.
Right. And what I was going to say with that too is that show's already been optioned, so that's pretty cool too. It's going to be on Hulu.
That came quick.
It did, very, very quick. There's been a few shows, especially for Aftershock, that have been, when they do get announced, they can kind of announce fast. They're not really kind of rumors or anything. Mm-hmm. And like Tyler said, in 2 more weeks will be the 1-year anniversary of the Nat Daddy show. So that's pretty cool too.
June 16th?
Yeah, June 16th.
You don't have anything else to do on a Thursday night.
No.
You might as well just tune in.
Right. You can see us on Thursday night. You can see us in every second Saturday night, starting on the 11th.
And every little video we do in between. We just did the video on that pickup we had the other weekend with the Spider-Man and Marvel Universe figures.
That's right.
Yeah, all sorts of content. It's going to be a busy summer.
It is.
But with that is everything we've got for you tonight. So I believe we will see you all later this week, later next week. We'll see you sometime.
Maybe Saturday.
See ya.